Shalom, this is Elder Isaac Hill, Restores the Truth Ministry, sharing with you another Scripture Nugget. Today's Scripture Nugget will be part 2 of the topic that we started previously, entitled Set Apart or Set-Apartness. In part 1, what we found out was that when Yahuah introduced himself to Moshe, he introduced himself as the set-apart one, distinctively different in Shemot chapter 3 or in Exodus chapter 3. And what we find is that he identified rather than he revealed, and from the revelation, Moshe had an understanding or received an understanding of who Yahuah really was, who Yahuah really is. And so we find that when he said that I am that I am, from one version, he's actually was saying, Ayeh, Asher, Ayeh, I will be whatever I will be, or who I will be. And so that's distinctively different. He's not like any other one or any other mighty one. He is Yahuah. He is Elohim. So that's the first understanding that we should get when we're talking about set-apartness. We don't use the word Holy because that really is a practice of asceticism. And not only that, but that's another stems from another type of ruach, or not ruach, but rather a entity that comes from demonic or paganistic background. But anyway, let's get into part 2 of this set-apart study. In this case, we're going to go to YirmeYahu, or Jeremiah chapter 10, and we're going to look at verse 1 and 2. And there's two particular words that we're going to look at that prayerfully and hopefully we get a better understanding of set-apartness. Now, in Jeremiah, YirmeYahu chapter 10, verse 1 and verse 2. Here the prophet is saying, hear the word which Yahuah speaks to you, O house of Israel. Thus said Yahuah. Now I'm reading from the scriptures, the ISR. Thus said Yahuah, do not learn the way of the Gentiles of Goyim, and do not be awed by the signs of the heavens. For the Goyim, or Gentiles, proper word should be Goyim, are awed by them. Way of the Goyim. That word learn has a Hebrew word of lamad. Lamad basically says that we should not teach or instruct. And as you see here on the screen here, it goes into exactly what reference that we're using. We're using the Hebrew concordance. And so you can kind of see exactly what this particular word means. And so many times in this particular society, in this Western culture, this place we call America, sometimes we have learned and embraced other things that has nothing to do with Torah, has nothing to do with our Elohim. And we look at that as no harm things. We look at that as, well, it's just something that we do. I'm going to give you an example. What we have coming up is what has been termed as Mother's Day. Now, when you look at that, it looks as if, well, there's no harm. You know, it's good to to respect and honor your parents, or because later on in the month of June, or that particular month, there is a day for fathers. Well, the thing is that when you look at it, it's no harm. However, you must look at the root of something. Now, we're not telling anyone not to respect the parents. However, if you're already doing that, based on Shemot chapter 20, based upon the 10 words, to respect, or one version says to honor your father and your mother. If you're already doing that, why would there be another set time to do it? You see, when you begin to put into practice something, you learn the ways of it. And when you learn the ways of it, eventually it leads you away or apart from Torah. So Jeremiah says that do not learn the way of the Goyim. Then he begins to say, or he finishes up verse 2 by saying, do not learn the way. And that Hebrew word for way is darik, or derek, or darak, if it's the root word. And so, which means there's a course of action. And so every time there is a day that this society says that should be recognized, or that you should do this and do that, eventually you find yourself doing it under the disguisement that you're an American. And this is what America is all about. But when do you decide that I am more than just an American? When do you decide that I am a Torah keeper? When do you decide that I am going to follow Yahuah? When do you decide that he has set or given us set times anyway? When do you decide that it is the 10 words that I follow? When do you decide that? And so what happens is that you have a mixture of people who say they are Torah keepers, but yet they begin to follow the Americanism. You begin to follow a culture. And that's one of the biggest things about being set apart is culture. That's one of the things that Yahuah does not want us to get so caught up in is culture. Because culture defines who you are. And when you do it apart from Torah, what you're doing is mingling. And you'll see throughout Torah and throughout this study, as we get deeper and deeper into Set-Apartness, you begin to see the trouble of mingling. So stay tuned. Part 3 is coming up again about Set-Apartness, being set apart. And this is something that many of us, we should really go back to the drawing board and begin to look at. So until next time, shalom and shalom.